seats. This is a public hearing in the matter of the application of the Kingstonian Development Group for a zoning district overlay change of 0.313 acres of improved lands which are situated adjacent to and outside of the mixed-use overlay district for inclusion within the mixed-use overlay district by extension of the present mixed-use overlay district and by accompanying zoning map amendment in the City of Kingston, Community of Ulster, and State of New York. If anybody is here to speak about any other matter other than the Kingstonian rezoning, I will allow for public speaking before our Laws and Rules meeting, which starts at 6:30. First speaker.
Scott Harrington.
That better? Okay. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to your committee. My name is Scott Harrington, and I am a resident of the town of Hurley. I am a retired City of Kingston employee and own and operate 2 businesses in the City of Kingston, so I am a taxpayer here as well. I'm speaking tonight in full support of the Kingstonian project. While I appreciate and support the process of ensuring that this project be built according to appropriate regulations and standards, I urge the members of this committee and the other city, county, and state regulatory agencies to move it forward without further delay. The developers of this project are reputable, well-known local business leaders who have done excellent work both in our community and the surrounding area. They have adjusted their project accordingly as it has moved forward and are investing over $50 million privately funded dollars. The relatively small amount being publicly funded by the Downtown Revitalization Grant is helping to do just what the grant was intended for, revitalizing the area by assisting the developers in building a parking facility that will benefit all stakeholders. It is well known that the construction, maintenance, and management of a parking garage in Uptown Kingston is not financially feasible on its own, and neither the City of Kingston nor Ulster County has shown any interest in building it. Making it a part of a larger privately funded project is the only solution and will bring with it many benefits. This project, once completed, will provide additional market rate residences in Uptown Kingston, which will lead to increased property and sales tax revenue for both the city and the county. In addition, the increased parking will allow more consumers to access the Uptown area, resulting in an increase in sales tax revenue from the surrounding businesses. The project will create both temporary construction jobs as well as many permanent jobs in the hotel apartment complex and garage, as well as indirect job increases as local businesses expand with the influx of new and more consumers. The application of a pilot for this project is in line with exactly what pilots were created for, to allow development of otherwise unsustainable projects which benefit the entire community. This is a win-win for the City of Kingston and all of its residents and taxpayers, and I ask the committee to move this forward without delay. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I forgot to do. I'm present here from the Laws and Rules Committee are Randall Scott Childress, Rita Worthington, and filling in for Don Tallerman is Michelle Hirsch. Next speaker, please. And I am Jeffrey Morrell. I'm the chairman of Laws and Rules.
Sarah Wank.
Hi, this is still on. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of KingstonCitizens.org. Rebecca Martin is traveling and couldn't be here, so I'm reading this in her behalf. In the summer of 2019, KingstonCitizens.org organized a petition drive that requests the Common Council uphold the affordable housing mandate of the mixed-use overlay district and request a full accounting of Kingstonian public funds as was required for the city for earlier development proposals. While the developers have finally incorporated some affordable housing units into their project, but only by expanding an already overscaled development, the total amount of taxpayer dollars that the Kingstonian developers say is required to make the project happen has not yet been disclosed. Beyond the $6.8 million in New York State grants that have been publicly awarded, the DRI, Restore New York, and a separate Empire State Development Corporation grant, the public remains in the dark about the following: the value of tax breaks to be sought from the Ulster County IDA through a pilot, the value of all municipal real estate to be given over to the project, including Fair Street Extension and the city parking lot parcel on North Front Street, the municipal parking revenue that will be lost once the lot is sold, the total cost of infrastructure upgrades the city will have to undertake to accommodate a project of this magnitude, and any other public grants, tax credits, or subsidies the developers may be seeking but have not disclosed. Given the long-term profits that the developers stand to gain, the total public investment to be made to realize this project must be outlined. It is the Common Council's fiduciary responsibility to determine whether the public benefit is worth the public cost. As the Ulster County Planning Board wrote in its September 2019 letter, it would be appropriate, as part of the public-private partnership that this project represents, that the public understand how much of a role they are being asked to play. On behalf of KingstonCitizens.org, we present a hard copy of the petition with 240 signatures respectfully requesting that you obtain and disclose the full accounting of all public subsidies to be used for this project, as well as a copy of the developer's pro forma before you consider amending the mixed-use overlay district boundaries and any other discretionary approvals for the Kingstonian project. Additionally, we request that Ward 5 Alderman Don Tallerman, who is a member of the Council's Laws and Rules Committee, recuse himself from any decision-making pertaining to the Kingstonian project. Not only does he appear in a promotional video on the developer's website, he has also delivered public testimony in favor of the zoning change while opposing the call for affordable housing for the project and supporting the pilot for its parking garage. His testimonies occurred months after he had already declared his candidacy for the council. Because he operates an event venue, the Senate Garage, that is directly across from the project site, he stands to significantly benefit directly financially from the project, which represents a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Donald Verity.
Good evening. As a lifelong resident of Ulster County and also manager of WBPM and WGHQ here in Kingston, and as well as a former chair of the Ulster Regional Chamber of Commerce, I meet with people every day. It's evident that there is overwhelming support for the Kingstonian project and what it means to Kingston and Ulster County. I can tell you that people are encouraged with the projected full-time jobs and construction jobs which will come back to our community in the form of expendable income in our city and county. People are excited about the new residents that will live in Kingston and the commerce that they will bring. They're excited about the influx of tourism that will want to lodge at the new hotel. The renewed interest in Kingston will ultimately see new investment in our city as well. More people visiting, living, and working here will undoubtedly have a need for more parking, and Kingston, the Kingstonian, addresses that too. And right now, with any further development, there's already a parking shortage in our city. Just today, I was in Uptown and going to an appointment, and I had to circle around multiple times before I could get a spot. So the proposed parking garage at the Kingstonian will double the parking capacity of the Fair Street lot and will certainly add to the convenience for Kingston residents and visitors. And since it is projected that each parking space will be associated with $20,000 in new annual revenue to local businesses, all of this commerce will help the county in increased tax revenues too. The Kingstonian project will also cause a domino effect for future economic development in our region, as other businesses and developers will certainly want to locate here. And conversely, not allowing the project to come into Kingston is sending the wrong message that Kingston is not a development-friendly community. Cities throughout the United States are seeing a rebirth and are building to accommodate it. We need to encourage that spirit in Kingston as well. In the spirit of that initiative, the project is well thought out, gives back several-fold to the city, adds sorely needed parking as an attractive centerpiece to uptown Kingston, and the business community and future city residents could not ask for more. I highly recommend that you grant the Kingstonian project your approvals to commence as soon as possible. I include a photo of no parking that I apparently found today in my remarks. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Next speaker, please.
Eleni, and I don't know how to say your last name, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eleni Loizu, and I'm here as longtime business owner in Uptown and as president of the Kingston Uptown Business Association, also known as CUBA. Like myself, the members of CUBA strongly support the Kingstonian project based on the economic benefits to be derived. In addition to adding to the city tax base, benefiting Uptown, the city, and the county, this project will centralize a brand-new community of residents who will support Kingston businesses. CUBA members set a priority goal in solving the parking issue. A result of this effort was the city issuing the RFQ in an effort to rebuild the garage at zero impact on the taxpayers. This project does that and so much more by adding consumers to the marketplace and connecting two key commercial hubs. Again, the Kingstonian will increase the number of parking spaces in Uptown at no cost to taxpayers. The development will create 150 direct and indirect jobs, as well as provide new spaces for retail stores in Uptown. As I stated before, the Kingstonian project is the next sensible evolutionary step in not only the revitalization of Uptown, but the city of Kingston. Thank you for your time. At this time, John Perry would ask if I could read his letter that he sent, if I can? Yeah? Sure. Okay, so I'm not John Perry. So, John Perry, owner of Signature Fitness located at 33 North Front Street, Kingston. Thank you for consideration to allow me to voice my concerns in regards to the Kingstonian project now being built, I'm sorry. As a business owner of 20 years plus now and building owner of 8+ years in Uptown Kingston, I firmly believe this project will assist the City of Kingston in many ways. First, providing a real solution to the RFP that the City of Kingston put forth based on studies and the positive economic impacts to the whole city. This by local families, one of whom has been providing generations of positive impact to the city and county, the Jordans, as well as the state of New York backed this project by awarding the city a $10 million grant. This would not be possible if it weren't for the Kingstonian being as part of this grant, of the grant process. Parking garage, providing 277 municipal parking spots, roughly doubling the current amount, as well as making it weatherproof, handicap available, and safe, secure for all users. This is huge. Providing housing to many seniors, empty nesters, retiring, and new young residents. The Kingstonian will enable them to stay in Kingston to live and work. With this positive economic impact provided by the Kingstonian project to the city and county, allowing for hiring of new jobs, increases in housing, while providing real sales tax revenues, again, assisting the city and county as a whole. Reminder, all this is no cost to property and school taxpayers. This is just some of the most have must-have infrastructures needed in Uptown Kingston now and for future growth of the city that the Kingstonian project will provide. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Tanya Garment.
Hi, I've got a couple things I just thought of that I'll say, and I also have signed up to speak on behalf of Alona Ross, who sent this for me to read for her. Parking will not be at no cost to the public. There'll be a pilot agreement, as stated by Joe Bonora as Jr., as early as the original public information meeting more than a year ago, but has been reiterated numerous times, that the pilot agreement will help pay for the parking. Of course, I think you all understand what a pilot agreement is. And charging to park, will no longer be public parking. It'll be parking that's managed by the Kingstonian, so it won't be part of our parking management system, and which we don't have, which we hope that we will have soon. And higher rents will be part of paying for the parking. There's going to be some sort of an agreement to give them the parking lot or lease it to the Kingstonian. We don't know how much that's going to what kind of arrangement that's going to be. There's a lot of information that we still don't have. I want to point out that more parking does not lessen the parking problem. A good parking management system does. I think it was just this month that a book that I really hope that you'll all read, The High Cost of Free Parking by Donald Shoup, is now available on Audible. It comes with pictures and everything on Audible, which a PDF of that, graphs, and I really recommend it. It's a long book, so it's a good one to be on Audible. You can multitask with it. But our parking problem is not going to ever be fixed by adding more parking. This one is by Alona Ross, so thanks very much for your time with that. Here's her statement. Anyone who has bothered to look or listen knows that the overwhelming majority of written and spoken comment is opposed to this project in its current form. Virtually every selling point has turned out to be at best a half-truth, from the carefully massaged DRI process to expanding Landmark's call for positive seeker declaration, which the city then fixed by firing the offending Landmark's members and replacing them with project supporters who dutifully followed the neg deck playbook, to the so-called affordable housing component for those earning 60 to 110% of AMI, which falls way short of requirements in the comprehensive plan, to the dodgy parking math, to the so-called environmental aspect, which consists of heat pumps and inviting residents to choose renewable energy suppliers, which of course they're free to do anyway. And speaking of the environment, why would you rezone a parcel whose geology and elevation is vastly different from the historical stockade? Have you considered that this parcel falls within a floodplain so risk-prone that if it were to be built today, much of the plaza would be uninsurable unless the foundation was many feet higher? Have you considered that the architect himself said trees would be planted to conceal the scale of the project? Why conceal the scale of unless you know that it is wrong? For the last 5 decades, private investments have fooled lawmakers with the same script. It will create jobs. It will bring in tax dollars. The result is record inequity. Yes, after construction is done, there may be serving jobs paying minimum wage. But in many cities with booming high-end constructions, such as New York City, storefronts lie empty, and it's likely to be the same here, what with 8,000 square feet of new commercial space. Tax revenue? Yes, there will be tax revenue, but it will be dwarfed. But will it be dwarfed by tax outflow? And I'm almost done here. We don't know because we haven't seen the pilot. and in the event of problems caused by aging infrastructure or global warming floods, we have no idea what burdens the city and country will be called upon to shoulder. Lastly, what if the investors sell after 10 years in order to take advantage of the loophole allowing them to escape capital gains tax? That money, some of which would have come back to local coffers, will not be there, and the county and city will have to make do with less, while private investors will have lined their pockets at the expense of everyone else. Please do not approve this zoning change. Sincerely, Ilona Ross.
Thank you. Nobody else signed up to speak. Is it about the Kingstonian? Okay, one more, and then, okay. We have 3 minutes left on our scheduled hearing, so
I'll be
thank
very
you.
brief, I promise. My name is Karen Clark-Aden. I'm a resident for 40 years in the business.
Can you spell your last name, please?
2 words, Clark, C-L-A-R-K, Aden, capital A-D-I-N.
Thank you.
I've been a taxpayer here for 40 years and a business owner for 20. I strongly urge you to move this project forward. I know that the opposition is here in numbers, but there's a few things that they do not realize. Number one, it is not a sin to be middle income. It is not a crime to be successful. Please do not vilify the successful businesses in Uptown Kingston. They are owned by individuals who work their tails off 7 days a week. In addition, I will not talk about parking because it's like beating a dead horse at this point. We have a severe lack of parking. We need more housing in the city of Kingston. Over 40% of the parcels in the city are off of the tax rolls. That means that 60% of the people have been carrying 100% of the tax burden. This is not sustainable. When our infrastructure starts to fail, like the famous sinkhole on Washington Avenue, we need money to fix it. If there are not enough people paying property tax into the kettle, there's not going to be enough money to support Kingston's aging and decrepit infrastructure. 129 new people, that's assuming only one per unit, will generate sales tax, they'll be paying property tax through their rent, and they want to remain in the city of Kingston. We need more tax dollars, and I strongly urge you to please listen to the stakeholders, listen to the people that own houses, that own property, that pay property tax, the people that own businesses, and pay all of those fees in the city of Kingston. Please push this project forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Linsug, and
Can you spell your last name, please?
sure, A-L-I-N-S-U-G. And yes, I am here representing Rise Up Kingston. I work for the organization. I also am here just as a citizen of Kingston. I live in Ward 4. I live on one of the shakedown streets, and I have, in just the past 3 months, have been privy to multiple incidences of police misconduct, including one that happened right outside of my house to one of my neighbors. Yes, I understand that you were talking about the Kingstonian, but I also understand that the legislation is on your agenda for tonight at the Laws and Rules Committee.
Yeah, I will allow for public speaking before that meeting starts.
Okay, great.
All right.
Make sure to call on me.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay, sure. Do we have time? We have one more. 1 minute.
Thank you. My name is Rashida Tyler. I wasn't going to speak tonight. Hearing all the uptown business owners really did propel me to speak. I admire their hope. I really do admire their hope that this project, the Kingstonian, will be something that will benefit uptown business owners. We know that when luxury housing developments move into areas, they don't frequent the businesses that are already there. More high-end businesses actually come in and price out the small business owners that are in the area. I admire the hope that they express, that you'll listen to the people, because the people really did have hope that the zoning code would be upheld. We had hope that, when our council, when our committees of our government came up with these zoning laws, that they would enforce them and not bend them when there are, special entities that are coming into uptown Kingston or any other neighborhood. We really do put that trust in our government and in those people who serve in our government, that they will uphold what the people have asked. And we have this zoning code in place for a reason, and we do hope that this won't be bent for just this one particular entity. I also do have a great admiration for people saying that, taxpayers should be looked out for. When businesses come in, when organizations and developments come in that rely on pilots, that puts a special strain on taxpayers in Kingston, and especially because it creates market distortions because they're not paying into the system. And people who are working in small businesses, people who are that actually make up this city suffer for it. We have, when people aren't paying their fair share of taxes, we're subsidizing low wages. People are going to DSS. People are relying more because we're not paying living wages, because these entities are, taking advantage of the favors that they're receiving. So I really do hope that the Laws and Rules Committee and that our government sticks by the people and upholds the zoning regulations that are in place. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will end this meeting, but I will keep the public hearing open until the closing of business day on Friday, January 24th. And that is so that anybody who didn't have an opportunity to speak today can submit written comments to the clerk's office. Thank you.